Legion M is the world's first fan-owned entertainment company.
What we're doing with Legion M has never been possible before.
We think that an entertainment company owned by fans is better than one owned by Wall Street.
And so we're funding films and TV shows and VR projects collectively as a community. And when we're successful, sharing the reward. You know, being a part of Legion M, whether you invest or not, is being a part of a community that is making a difference in the entertainment industry, supporting and representing original breakthrough content.
Our first project was Colossal, which was an Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis movie.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Our second project was Mandy, which is a Nicolas Cage movie.
So my whole thing was just about how can I service this vision.
Then we did Bad Samaritan with David Tennant and Dean Devlin.
Dean is known for Stargate and Independence Day, and he hasn't done films like this.
Legion is going to change Hollywood.
Get that tingle. You know you're watching something that's going to change the course of history.
Legion M is an amazing company. It's owned 100% by the fans.
We see fans as having immeasurable power.
What it is that you guys do that's so special is you connect with fans. And that's meaningful for filmmakers and for films to be able to find an audience.
Our goal is 1 million fans unite to take over Hollywood.
If we're able to achieve that, that would give us literally hundreds of millions of dollars to produce movies and television shows that have 1 million fans standing behind them.
That's not a small company in Hollywood. That is one of the most influential companies on the planet.
And it's an amazingly fun process to open the gates of Hollywood and allow people to come in. And if you believe in the power of fans and a fan-owned company, we want you to come join the Legion.
That's why I like these Legion M cats.
I am Legion M.
I am Legion M.
Join the Legion! Join the Legion! Join the Legion!
Join the Legion! Hello, WonderCon. I'm Terry Luberoff, COO and Head of Content at Legion M, and I am pleased to present the Legion M panel. We have a lot of great people joining us tonight, including our CEO, Paul Scanlon, who is going to show us something in his office where he is broadcasting live from home that is especially unique.
Let's see, what do I have here? I have a Cheddar Goblin mask. An exclusive Cheddar Goblin mask. Really cool. I keep it right here by my side in case I have any questions throughout the day or need any advice.
And we have our president, Jeff Scanlon. Okay.
What?
No, not Jeff.
Wait a second. What's going on here?
Brother.
Hi, Amanda Rico.
Horrible job.
Paul and Jeff Scanlon.
Taylor Scanlon and Mandy Scanlon.
The family business. No, I'm
it's a family business.
Jeff
Annison, and I have my WonderCon badge and my Soulja Boy glasses. And yes, there is a story behind this, but no, unfortunately, there's not time for it now.
I'm so embarrassed. We also have our VP of Development, David Baxter.
Hey, everybody. I've got my axe from Mandy, just in case people are being naughty. But
be careful.
I'll be
That's
careful.
not creepy at all, David.
Not at all.
It's a good tool to keep by your desk.
Yeah, just in case, the apocalypse completely goes crazy.
We have Taylor Gledhill, our head of social media.
That's me. I'm Taylor Gledhill. And also from Mandy, I've got my Mandy Lynn. And a whole skull, too. I guess you didn't expect that. But it's on my desk, staring me down all the time. Every day.
And we have the only non-Mandy movie reference in this stream, Mandy Bartispanian, our VP of Merch and Licensing.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is very confusing that my name is Mandy and that one of our biggest movies is also called Mandy. It makes for really, really fun office chatter and very confusing emails, but here we go. In my office, I have my trusty assistant up there. His name is Draco. And I also have my favorite knight in shining armor who always gives me a pin whenever I need it.
Awesome. And I have my favorite little Coke bottle from Disney's Star Wars awesomeness. So I'm ready to talk about Legion M, guys. Paul and Jeff, what is Legion M?
Sure. Well, so as the video just kind of helped give a quick overview of what Legion M is, we are the world's first fan-owned entertainment company. And if you haven't heard about us, we started the company about 4 years ago. And we started to literally unite fans from all over the world to co-own our own entertainment company. And the reason we're doing that is that we believe that individually we're all fans, and that's great, and we're excited about that. But when we come together, we can really band together and have some influence and have some fun, and also, you know, have some power over this industry that we love so much. So, you know, we call ourselves the world's first fan-owned entertainment company, and the reason we do that is that we believe that if you look at Hollywood today, most of the biggest projects in the industry are big because they have a built-in audience. And so with Legion M, what we're looking to do is build our audience into our shareholder base and have a community and a fan base, an audience that can attach to any project. And so, and it's more than just attaching to projects. It's also, we see the community as a way to, as our guiding light to help guide us towards the projects that we want to see made, towards the creators and visionaries that we like to work with, so that we can create content that's from the fans, for the fans, and owned by the fans. So we've been at it for about 4 years, and if you look at our logo has a bar over the M, and what that symbolizes is the Roman numeral for 1 million, and you know, that's our long-term goal. So our goal in life and with this company is to unite 1 million entertainment fans together and then take over Hollywood. And if you think about that for a minute, if you look at what is the value of having 1 million entertainment fans? And so the way it works with Legion M is we don't want anyone investing their life savings. And so the minimum investment's $100. The average investment is about $400. And by the way, you can join for free. So we want people to join Legion M, figure out what we're all about, get to know us, even before you make that investment. But at 1 million investors, we'll have raised over $400 million to invest in projects that have 1 million people emotionally and financially invested in them. If we had that today, we feel like we would be one of the most influential companies in Hollywood. You know, 4 years into this, we've started to see the impact of what that means. And so we've got a lot of projects that we're going to tell you about today, that my colleagues will talk about, and other ways that you can not only own a piece of content, but also get involved in the projects that we're working on. So Jeff, I think I'll pass it over to you. Do you want to talk about where we are and how far we've come?
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and first of all, shout out to everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. I mean, obviously this is a poor substitute for us all being together at WonderCon, but I think that it's, you know, at a time like now, community is just as important and even more important than ever. And so we're happy to be here today. And I think that's, I mean, at the end of the day, Legion M is all about community. It's about finding ways to come together to change an industry, and in this case, to kind of help get through difficult times. So thank you everybody who's tuning in today. But like Paul said, we launched about 4 years ago, and you can see here, we've had pretty much exponential growth during that time. The chart on the left shows the number of investors that we have. We're now over 25,000 investors. We just closed our 6th round of fundraising. We've raised over $10 million to date to, you know, develop new projects and to invest in projects and all that sort of stuff. The chart on the right, like Paul said, you don't have to invest to become part of Legion M. We're a company whose strength comes from our size. And there's a lot of people out there that, especially during times like now, maybe you can invest, or maybe you're not sure about it, or you want to kind of see what it's all about. I really encourage you, just go to legionm.com. You can join. It's 100% free. It still gets you access to a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we do, and a lot of the stuff that we'll talk about probably today. And it's a great way to see firsthand what we're all about. And at some point, if you decide that you want to actually invest and own a piece of the company, that's wonderful. And if that's not the case and you want to be a free member forever, that's fine too, because at the end of the day, this is all about fans uniting to shape the future of Hollywood. So since we launched, we've had a ton of media. If you haven't heard of us, check us out. Just don't take our word for it. Just go to Google Legion M and check out news, and you'll see the profiles that we've had in Forbes and the Hollywood Reporter and Los Angeles Times. These are some quotes that we've got from some of the folks that we've worked with in the past. And I'm not going to kind of go into them right now. We have worked with some amazing people, and we'll talk about that in a little bit with some of the projects that we've been in. But the quote that I think that we're most proud of is probably this one from Stan Lee. We were very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with Stan very, at the very kind of the last couple of years of his life. And it's something that I think that we all treasure. And we were able to do some amazing things like uniting fans to get Stan's hands and footprints immortalized in cement at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. And then we had a Hollywood house party with Stan where over 500 of Stan's biggest fans came. We rented out a 9,000 square foot mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And Stan was there, and we had DJs and live music and food and drinks, and it was absolutely epic and a wonderful way, a wonderful experience. It's kind of, one of the things we talk about is Legion M. Our job is to create bucket list opportunities, and I don't think there's any greater than that. But Stan, this quote actually came when the company was probably 6 months old, and Stan gave this quote as part of an interview that he did with the LA Times, and it was really critical because it helped establish us. And I think that his early support and endorsement had a huge bearing on our eventual success. We've also established a real extensive advisory board that includes executives from Netflix and Lucasfilm and Tim League, the founder of Alamo Drafthouse, and Dean Devlin, the creator of Stargate and Independence Day and Leverage and The Librarians. Stupid Buddy Studios, Seth Green and the team over there that produces Robot Chicken. It's really, when you talk about it starting an entertainment company, Hollywood is an incredibly complex business ecosystem. And we recognized very early on that one of the most important things for us was to establish a rock star team that could help us navigate all of those waters. And so we're very proud of that, and for all of our investors to be able to come in and say that this is part of the team that they're part of. So the last thing that I want to kind of touch on here is two things. So first of all, we talk about the fact that we're a fan-owned entertainment company. And I think that kind of throws people like what is that? Is that a studio? Is it a production company? Is it, the answer is kind of yes. And this chart I think is helpful because it shows kind of the development process all the way from, you can see the light bulb on the very left-hand side. That's the spark, the idea that everything starts with. And it goes through the process. There's the whole development process where you're talking about writing and pitching and packaging and trying to get it sold, into some place. And if you're lucky enough to get through that gate, then you go through the production process, which is all the casting and pre-production and filming and editing and the actual creation of the movie, just to use, kind of in this example. And when you get through that, you're not done. Now you get into one of the hardest parts of it, which is the distribution and the marketing of it. You talk to someone like Kevin Smith, and he'll tell you it's just as hard or harder to market a film today than it is to make a film. And the commercial success of a film often relies more or just as much on the marketing as the film. So that's all the stuff that not many people are familiar with, the print and advertising, the booking, the promotion, all the public relations, trying to get the stars on Good Morning America and all that sort of stuff. And then finally, once you get through that gate, you actually get the film or your TV show or whatever released. And there's a whole kind of stage there where you're talking about, you know, if it's a film, maybe it's festivals or there's a theatrical release. What are the different windows as far as DVD and video on demand and streaming and so on. And so this is kind of a holistic view of the process that a project typically follows. And if you look at that curve, the kind of logarithmic curve, what it really is showing you is the number of projects out there, right? There's infinite number of ideas, but as you go through this process, the number of ideas that actually make it out the other end in the release cycle are a lot smaller. So this slide is the exact same thing, but with our projects kind of shown on here. And so as you can see, we are involved with every single stage in this process, from early stuff where we own the rights to it, and we are trying to get a buyer to buy it, all the way to, you know, on the other end, films that are coming out, they're already maybe produced, but there are opportunities for us as a company to get involved to help market them. And so, you know, what you see is everything that we do is about trying to figure out how to leverage our superpower, which is the fact that we're the only company in the world that is owned by fans and has a community of fans supporting the stuff that we do. And so we're looking at where can we bring that to bear? Where does it lead to competitive advantages and ways that we can be successful? So this last slide that I'm going to show, these are some of the projects that we've publicly talked about. There's a ton more on our website. There's a ton of information about all of these projects. But you can see we're talking about Colossal, which was an Anne Hathaway movie that we were involved with. It was our very first project back in 2016. Bad Samaritan, that starred David Tennant from Doctor Who and Robert Sheehan from Mortal Engines and Umbrella Academy. And that was produced, directed, financed, distributed by Dean Devlin, the creator of Stargate and Independence Day. We worked directly with Stan Lee and Kevin Smith to do a virtual reality shoot. It's actually something that we haven't released. We've still got the footage. We captured Stan probably about 1.5 years before he passed away. And it was just before his wife passed away, actually. And it recorded about 1.5 hours of extremely high quality virtual reality footage of Kevin Smith interviewing Stan and his wife. They were celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary that year, and we have both of them independently talking about the day that they met and fell in love 70 years ago. It was absolutely amazing. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got Mandy, a crazy blood-soaked, adrenaline-fueled midnight movie with Nicolas Cage that's become a huge cult sensation. Down on the bottom, you can see some of the projects. Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob reboot. We were an investor in that, as well as the Reboot Roadshow that he and Jay Muse did. Memory, the Origins of Alien is an amazing documentary about the film Alien that we purchased at Sundance based on feedback from all of our community who are acting as film scouts. The Emperor's Blades is a trilogy of high fantasy novels that we've acquired the rights to create a series around. We partnered with Weta Workshop to come up with some amazing concept art, and we are literally, like, as we speak or as this is being recorded, in the process of pitching this to companies like Netflix and Amazon and trying to get somebody to pick this series up. And so this just gives you kind of an overall taste. Like I said, there's a wealth of information. And I think at this point, you know, we can turn it over to Terry and David, and they'll talk about some of the new projects that we got coming down the pipe.
Sure. Jeff, just real quick before David and I start talking about some of our new projects, I'd love to just give people a little taste of what it is like to be a co-owner and shareholder of Legion M, and what kind of input they have into us choosing our projects.
Yeah, it's a great question. And like I said a little bit earlier, everything that we do is figuring out how we can leverage our community of people to make better decisions and to help our projects succeed. And one way is obvious, and this is, you know, one of the things that Paul was talking about earlier about when a movie comes out, we have an established community, a built-in audience that we know is going to come out and see it, and they're going to talk about it on social media, and they're going to bring their friends and family because it's their film. And like, that's one pretty obvious way that, you know, a lot of people immediately understand. But, you know, as we've gone through and as we've developed Legion M, we've also found a lot of other really interesting ways. We've got a whole legion of scouts to help us identify hot, new, up-and-coming properties. And we have a number of projects that are on our slate specifically because we were keyed into them because somebody posted them in our private Facebook group or sent us an email. We have a ton of people that can help us, or a whole legion of people that can help us make decisions about films. We have this amazing Film Scout program that allows our entire community to help us evaluate the films that are available at Sundance. You know, when you go to Sundance as a company like us, you're looking for a film to potentially acquire or partner with somebody to acquire. And it's a daunting task because there's, you know, there's over 100 films and there's only a few days that you can go in and watch them. And typically the decision is to like, okay, what movies are you going to watch, let alone what are you going to eventually buy once you've seen them? Comes down to a handful of executives that just make, you know, they're using their gut and intuition and the best that they can to make a decision. And we just feel like there's a better way. So we created a game that allowed everybody around the world to see all the films that are playing, rate and evaluate them, and help us narrow it down to the ones that people are most interested in. Then, you know, for the past 3 years at Sundance, we've had a Legion M lounge where you could come in and, you know, join us at Sundance. And, you know, you've got to pay your own way to get to Sundance. But if you ever want to go to Sundance, there's no better way than to come as a Legion M Film Scout, hang out at the Legion M lounge, and you would go see movies and rate and evaluate them. So when it comes time to make a decision, it's not just that Terry and David and Paul and I have seen this movie and we're going to argue over which one, you know, whether we should support it or not. We might have dozens or even hundreds of people that have seen the film or a film at Sundance and rated and evaluated. And it's just, it gives us data to make a better decision. So it's
still argue about it.
We still argue all the time. Yeah, but
always.
I guess literally there are dozens of examples like that we can talk about ways that either we're opening the gates of Hollywood to allow people to come join a set visit or get a walk-in role in a film or help them score a role as an extra, or ways that we're using them to make our decisions as a company. But I think Film Scout's a great example because it just encompasses everything.
That's so smart. So David, I'd love to take the idea of Film Scout and everything we're doing to get people's opinion and information about movies that we're seeing at film festivals or Sundance, and also turn that around and talk about impulse and how that helps us inform our decisions in development. And I think a really good example of that is a project that Jeff and Paul mentioned earlier, which is Emperor's Blades. Can you talk a little bit about how we came to Emperor's Blades?
Sure. Well, you know, early on in the company, actually, we heard about the book, and I read it, and I, you know, talked to everybody else about it. But before we really, you know, got into it, what we did is we decided we want to use impulse, and what impulse is essentially is a way for us to canvas and turn our community into a focus group and to get an idea of the kinds of things that they are interested in. And Emperor's Blades is a very unique fantasy in that it has a very modern take. It's not like a dusty old, you know, fantasy with knights and so forth. It has some really, really unique elements to it. And they really liked the idea. And so we decided to pursue it. At the time, we were not able, we were very early on in the company. And, you know, when you're trying to make deals for projects, sometimes you can't come to a deal. Sometimes, you know, you don't have enough resources to bring to the table. And we kind of put it on a shelf because we realized It wasn't the right time for the company to get involved. But eventually we grew to the point where we thought, oh man, we should go back and check this out. And unfortunately, somebody else had gotten the rights to the book, and we're thinking, we missed out on it. And then we suddenly got a phone call from the person who had the rights, because he had found out about Legion M. And he was like, oh my God, these would be the perfect partners. And that is how sometimes these kinds of things work out. You never really know. And
hopefully the rest is history.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're we're literally in the midst of pitching this, as Jeff had mentioned. And it's really, really exciting. We can't discuss the writers that we're working with right now, but suffice to say,
they're huge.
They're really, really, really.
They're very big writers.
They're big writers, and not only are they big writers, they're people who truly love fantasy. They're not in it. They're in it because they want to work on a project that they can do a really deep dive in and tell stories that haven't been told before. And some of the things, I think, Terry, you should speak to it a little bit. I mean, there are the important characters in this, the characters with agency, are not the ones that you necessarily associate with fantasy.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's so lovely to be working with writers who are also great people, as most writers are. But we're very lucky that they have been so creative in putting the pitch together for these books, because they're huge books. And what excites me most about the books is that they're diverse, they're multicultural, and they have the most amazing female characters I have ever read in any fantasy novel. And from a personal perspective and how I want the industry to move forward, I think that's really cool. And it's something that's really awesome for Legion M to be taking the lead on. So these are projects that we're currently pitching. For anyone who's interested and who already loves the novels, I'm sure Mandy will talk a little while about the merch line that we've developed, which has a lot of kind of inside jokes, which are really fun. And we're also super lucky that the author, Brian Staveley, has agreed to do an author's AMA, which will be held on May 21st on our Twitch channel. So if you have read the novels, that's your chance to go ask them any question you want. If you haven't read the novels, you have, a little less than a month to do it. You have 3 weeks.
I can't tell you how exciting it is to be able to also have the resource of having a writer. He's in the midst of writing a whole new set of books. There's a new trilogy that's going to be coming out. And, generally when companies option famous books, the writers are sometimes dead, they're just gone. So there's no way to kind of get that interplay. And he's such a great guy. You're going to love it. I really recommend. And even if you can't read it, go to Audible and download it and just listen to it when you're, if you can get out of the house to go on a hike late at night or whenever. This is such a crazy environment. And by the way, I do want to say this. I really want to thank all of the first responders out there. My brother's a doc at Bellevue in New York. I thank every day that we have so many people. It's like another community is being created with these first responders in the medical community. Just keep doing what you're doing. If there's anybody out there, thank you so much for this. We really appreciate it.
Speaking of first responders, we have a couple of members of the Air Force who are working on the front lines right now in coronavirus mitigation and relief efforts. And what's great about them is they are also the co-writers of our project Evermore.
Yes, they
David,
are.
you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
And I think we only have 10 minutes or 15 minutes for this segment, so we should probably talk a little faster.
Yeah. I'll do the quick one. So Evermore is inspired by the real life Dr. Evermore Art Park in Madison, Wisconsin. And unfortunately, Dr. Evermore just passed away, but he's widely known as the godfather of steampunk. And this is a show for the whole family. I think I guess the best way to describe it, my short pitch would be a series of unfortunate events, the Lemony Snicket's series combined with Sliders. So you have kind of this amazing story where you're sliding in and out of different realities. Here's like the absolute basic thing. After the mysterious death of their parents, teenage twins, Ellie and Sam, discover that their whole life is a lie as they're forced to flee from dark forces with the help of their eccentric aunt, as in total steampunk aunt. And they're going to discover the truth about their family's origins and their role in a war being fought across the multiverse just beyond our reality's borders. This one is super cool, guys. That's all I have to say. How was that?
That was great. You did great. And we're super excited. We have a spec script written for that project. We'll be sending it out to potential buyers in the next couple of months. And a really fantastic showrunner named Andrew Cosby,
Eureka.
who is also an advisor for Legion M and a fabulous writer and another fabulous human being.
Indeed. I don't know if you guys remember the series Eureka, but that's his, and he totally gets this. So I think we've got a really great team lined up for that.
So those are two examples of TV projects that we're working on. We have a huge slate of other TV projects, some of which we've announced, and some of which we haven't yet. So right now we're trying to figure out in this world of coronavirus what we need to be concentrating on in the short term, whether it's animated series or unscripted series that we can shoot via Zoom. But I can tell you that we are actively working on several of these projects, including 2 projects with the director of Memory Origins of Alien, which is a feature film we released just back in October. So we're super excited to continue work on those and to announce those soon.
Yeah. And it was just Alien Day, in case you missed that.
Another great example of the types of projects we like to do, I mentioned a few minutes ago that strong female characters are something that's really personally important to me and also important to Legion M as a company. We have a huge initiative on diversity and inclusion. And one of the projects that we're very proud to be working on is called Girl with No Name. And Girl with No Name is an action feature film set in the Old West with a female protagonist, a young lady who just doesn't fit into the mores of that world back then because she was raised by her uncle to be kind of, I don't know, she didn't have to be a wife or a school marm or a waitress or a prostitute. She could be whatever she wanted. So it's a very unique telling of a revenge story set in the Old West. And one of the things that Legion M did was publish our very first comic book, Girl with No Name. And it's incredible because it was an all-female artist team. And we put it up on Kickstarter thinking we would have, I don't know, $6,000 worth of sales is kind of the comic book average. We thought we'd sell a little more. When all was said and done, we ended up being one of the most backed, actually the most backed comic book on Kickstarter in history. So we're super excited about that project. We are packaging it right now with talent. And one of the ways that we decided to get our supporters involved was to hold online development meetings. And so the director of the feature film and the producer of the feature film and the Legion M development team all got online, invited everybody who participated in Kickstarter to join us, and we did an online development meeting, which was so cool, and people's ideas were awesome, and we're actually using some of those ideas. So those are the types of things that we want to continue to do as we move forward. David, do you want to talk about Arch Enemy, perhaps?
Sure. Well, I can't talk too much about Arch Enemy, just because we're not supposed to talk too much about it. But Arch Enemy is our first foray into the superhero genre, and we are working with Spectre Vision, which is Elijah Wood's company. We worked with them previously on Mandy, and we're working with a director by the name of Adam Egypt Mortimer, who just did a movie called Daniel Isn't Real. And he's kind of approached the superhero genre from a way that we're not used to seeing it. And there's a very interesting actor who's the lead. You may know him from True Blood, Joe Manganiello. You may also know him from Magic Mike.
I was going to say, I know him from Magic Mike, David. I'm not embarrassed to tell people that.
Anyway, Joe is a friend to Legion M, and we got to know him actually around the time of Mandy, because I think Mandy is his favorite all-time movie, and I'm a really big nerd, and I play Dungeons and Dragons with him occasionally. So we were really, really excited when we found out that Spectre Vision was interested in working with him, and we all came together, and we shot the movie, and we managed to literally get it finished right before the pandemic struck. So luckily, we're in post-production now. I don't, obviously we don't know exactly when we're going to be opening it. It will have a lot to do with what happens, over the next 6 to 8 months. So, but it's as we're probably going to come back and talk some more about this, and hopefully do a panel with all of the various talents involved in it. But I don't want to spoil anything except to say it's not your mom and dad's superhero movie. It's something very, very unusual.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've probably taken enough time. I'm dying to hear from Taylor, because he is doing some amazing work on Twitch, which is a new distribution channel for Legion M. Taylor, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you have going on?
Sure. What's up, everybody? So yeah, I guess it's pretty obvious to everyone, being that we're doing a panel virtually, that there's a serious lack of personal communication or connectivity, I guess, in the time that we're living in. And so one of the things that makes Legion M extremely special to us isn't just the awesome projects that we work on, but it's specifically the community aspect of it. And now that we're not able to go to all these events in person, there's definitely a void there that we're trying to fill, to try to keep everyone connected and keep everyone who is in the community all together throughout this. So the big thing that we're doing, other than the other things that we're doing on social media, a few of the things that we're doing just across social is we're highlighting members of our community who are on the front lines, the fight against the coronavirus. And also just, we're going to continue to highlight members of our community long after this has passed, hopefully shortly. Just because there are so many incredible people in our community who are doing really amazing things. We're all tied together because we love film and television and comics and video games, but that doesn't mean that everybody works in the industry. In fact, I would say most people in the Legion M community don't. And so they're all leading their own really interesting lives, and we try to highlight the really fun, cool professionals that we have within the Legion M community. We're also trying to, spread some positivity and doing inspirational movie quotes all throughout our social media. But Twitch specifically is the one that we're most excited about. It's one of the few things that we're actually still able to do in this time of quarantine, because obviously, as you can see, you can stream things like Zoom and web chat. So similar to what Jeff said, we really are trying to open the gates of Hollywood for people who are either not from Los Angeles area or are nowhere near it, or just always really wanted to be involved in the film industry, the television industry. So what we do, one of the best things that we've kind of kicked off on a regular basis on Thursdays at 5 p.m. is sort of when we do most of them, are industry AMAs. We try to highlight a lot of not only members of our community, but also friends of Legion M, the company, to come on and talk with our viewers about what it's like to do any number of things in the industry. To give you a couple of examples, last week we just had Bat in the Sun, the YouTube channel guys who do Superpower Beatdown, and they were talking specifically about the Darth Vader versus Batman episode, which our own David Baxter played one of the Darth Vaders in epic fashion, which was pretty rad. So they came on to talk about what it was like to, create that type of epic content for the web, and just working in production in general in that capacity. Then we followed it up with Joe Manganiello, as you have already heard about. He came on to talk about Death Saves just last Friday, and that was really cool because he's involved in not only as an actor in Hollywood, but he's also got his own streetwear line that is heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, and it's really rad.
And heavy metal.
What's that? Say that again.
And heavy metal.
And heavy metal. Yeah, it is metal AF. It's awesome. And then by the time you guys see this, future people, we will have also aired an AMA with a good friend of ours, Eric Dietl, who's a staff writer on Doom Patrol, the HBO Max series. So that's coming out tomorrow for me, Thursday for you. So that's just a couple of things we're doing on Twitch. We're also doing interactive game nights by playing those Jackbox.tv games. If you've ever, back when we were all allowed to hang out in the same room together, if you ever were in a living room full of people, you could all sign in on your phone and play them on the TV screen. Well, you can actually stream those games over Twitch. Things like, Drawful, which is a Pictionary style game, Quiplash, where you write jokes and people vote on which ones they think are the funnier ones. Up to 10,000 people can play those on Twitch. And so that's something we do every Friday night. And our community turns out in large numbers just to come and hang out and be connected. And there are so many people who don't live near one another, but meet up at events like Comic Cons, like WonderCon specifically. And you'll see them in the chat. And it's kind of like, everyone's all old friends, but, some people are in Pennsylvania, some people are in Wisconsin, some people are on the West Coast, the East Coast. So that's really the whole thought behind our Twitch initiative specifically, is to create a platform that is for the community, generating awesome content, opening the gates of Hollywood by bringing industry professionals in to talk to people, but then also elevating people who are doing their own awesome things too. Just a couple of things that are coming up down the pipeline, and then I'll switch it over to Mandy. We've got another great show coming up soon to pay off the pitch elevator show that we started. This was a little bit before my time. I've inherited this, and it's going to be on Twitch now. And
you got it, Taylor.
What's that?
Taylor only heard stories
about
the elevator.
Way back back in my day, there was no pitch elevator. But regardless, we're doing a show called Pitch Elevator, where people are able to send in and submit their pitches in a 2-minute video. And then we're going to be premiering them live on Twitch for a panel of fun guests and staff and everyone to give critiques and feedback. And then we'll also have an audience voting component to it, similar to like an American Idol style type of thing, where you can vote at home and people will move through a bracket until we finally have, the top pitch. So that's going to be really fun. And one final thing that we're all really excited about too is we've partnered with Bandwagon Media and the Warner 150. So that's Greg Grunberg from Star Wars and Heroes, and Brad Savage, and Diego Cantu, along with Warner 150, to do, they specifically are doing this new show called The Insiders, which, you guessed it, is bunch of shorts all over web chat like Zoom, and they're scripted specifically for that medium, which is really cool. We're going to be premiering them on our Twitch, and all of the fun celebrity friends and guests they've gotten to be in those projects, along with their celebrity filmmakers and really incredible industry professionals. We're putting together panels for each short. So after we all watch it together, after we watch each episode together on Twitch, we're then going to have a panel discussion with the filmmakers and the cast. And then, every week we'll go through that. So that's in the works as well. But that's it, everyone. That's Twitch. If you haven't followed Legion M Official on all social, go ahead and pull out your phone and go to Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Twitch and follow Legion M Official. That's my shameless plug for the day. And
that's right.
back to you.
Come out and play games with us at one of our Twitch game nights. Our goal, we want to have a game night with 10,000 people. We want to break Jackbox.
That's right. Yeah, we
This
need to
is
give
so
them
much
give them
fun.
reason to make it even bigger. But I would say, so we're doing a lot of really awesome stuff. Specifically, also in merch. Sorry, Terry, did I just dethrone you as host?
Go for it. I love it.
Let me kick it back over to our actual host, Terry Limrock.
You're a much better host than I am, Taylor.
No way. No, Twitch has gone to my head. It's funny because usually nobody's talking back to me. So I kind of just babble into my webcam for an hour and a half like a crazy person. So it's weird to actually have someone, I hear a voice and I'm like,
it does take some getting used to.
Wasn't you? Who was that? Yeah. We're all going insane. We're all stuck at home and we're going insane.
Well, we've saved the best for last.
Aww.
I know, but Mandy, you know, when you walked into our door, you transformed our company. And,
Thank you.
well,
it's not making my head big at all.
No, but it was just, you know, you fit in. It was just like sort of that final key lock thing where it just sort of goes, the team. And
Well, thank you so much, David.
Please, you know, tell us how you got here and what's going on in merch.
Yeah, well, hey, WonderCon. I miss all of you so much. This is the first WonderCon that I haven't been to in, I think, 8-9 years. So this is very weird. And yeah, I miss all your faces. I hope you're all doing well. And I wish, you know, we could all cosplay and hug. But this is what we have for now. So hello. Well, like Terry said earlier, my name is Mandy, and I am the Vice President of Licensing and Merchandising for Legion M Entertainment. And really all that fancy title means is that I make really cool t-shirts. I mean, at the end of the day. So I do everything from anything and everything to do with merchandising for our properties and for our brand, Legion M. Basically what that means is when we have a project, I figure out what the plan is for merchandising that project. What retailers should we go to? What should the merch look like? What is on brand for that IP? What's going to be the most exciting thing that comes out of it? Who's the best character? What's the best lines? All of that good stuff that you want on t-shirts and other products and collectibles. That's what I do. And I bring that to life in every sense of the word. So yeah, right now we have some really, really exciting things going on. Did you hear something? Sorry. So right now we have some really exciting things happening. We have Emperor's Blades, which Terry and David talked to you about earlier. And Emperor's Blades, we just launched some new merch for it. And I'm so excited to bring this to you because what's really cool about this, since we are pre-production, we haven't developed the series yet, is that I was able to go off the books and design product off the books. And if you think about that, I mean, the first thing you're going to think is, well, there's nothing to go off of, right? There's only words. There's no imagery. There's no art. There's no character faces. And that is what is so cool about this, is I was able to kind of take it from what was in my head as I was reading the books and what I envisioned and kind of bring that out onto the merch. And then, of course, I worked with the rest of the team and the author, Brian Savely himself, to, you know, figure out really what the right look was, what it needed to feel like, and also, right, like what is the most interesting thing that you want to wear or have in your hands right now from the book series itself. So, and then also, of course, to get people hyped up and excited for the TV series. So we just launched a bunch of really cool stuff. I'm going to plug away right now. Please go to shop.legionm.com, or you can just go to legionm.com and click on the shop button. And that is where you'll get to our amazing e-commerce site that we're just so proud of. So Emperor's Blades, there's new apparel up there. Some of them are really cool. I got to tell you a little bit about it. So if you haven't read the books, I'm not going to spoil it for you, so don't worry. But if you have read the books or you're going to read the books, go look at it. The Miniate tea is one of my favorites. Is actually an idea from our own Taylor Gledhill over here. It is not going to spoil it, but basically that's one of my favorites. It's about emptiness, and it's about that's all I can say. That's all I can say without spoiling it. So go check that out. It's really funny. There is some new location teas we did. There's some really amazing locations in the world of Emperor's Blades in the Inurian Empire, and we kind of picked some of those incredible locations and did souvenir style teas out of that with verbiage that is kind of a funny play on if you actually went and visited that place. So please go check that out. It's really, really cool. We also have on pre-order right now these incredible coins. So I wanted to do something collectible, something very rare, and something that we won't do again. It's one of those, in and out kind of collectibles. So if you get it now, go get it. And there are coins, and we wanted them to actually look like they came out of the world of Nor, of the Empire. So it's 3 different coins, and they each represent the 3 different siblings in the world. You have to go check it out. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they totally reflect what you would actually use as money in the world of Emperor's Blades. It's absolutely amazing. And I worked directly with the author on this. The author, Brian, they said it earlier, but he's an incredible, incredible guy, and he knows his world so well. So to be able to work with him and actually create product with him was as scary as it sounds, as intimidating as it sounds, but also just so rewarding and beautiful, especially whenever, he loves what you're doing. It's like, oh my God, I'm creating this thing from this thing that was in your head, and it's incredible, you guys. I love what I do, obviously. So another thing I have to mention really quick is, this crazy time that we live in. Obviously, this is unprecedented for all of us. And something interesting that came out of this was the need for face masks. And we decided that we wanted to, as Legion M and our community, we wanted to do something good to help others in this time of need. So, we were looking for a nonprofit to benefit, during this time. And it just made sense to help out our fellow entertainment workers in this awful situation that we're all in. So we are, with our face mask program, we are benefiting the Actors Fund. And the Actors Fund is a nonprofit who supports everyone in the entertainment industry, everyone from the actor to the director to the camera guy to the DP, everybody, in their times of need. And right now they are struggling to meet demand. They are being asked for a lot of help. So what we did is we created a line of face masks, and they're actually really fun. We have everything from our movie Mandy with the Cheddar Goblin face. We have the tiger from Mandy. We have Jay and Silent Bob product. We have the movies mask that everyone's loving right now. And then we also have just Legion M branded stuff, and then nods to just fandom in general, because as we know, we are a beautiful fandom community and a big family of nerds. And so we have a bunch of stuff up there for everybody. And 100% of the net proceeds from this program is going to benefit the Actors Fund and our fellow entertainment workers in this time of need. So please go check it out. It's an incredible cause, and you'll also get a really fun, fashionable, nerdy face mask to go with it. Other than that, you guys, I'm going to stop talking because I'll go on about this forever. But really, it comes down to I love what I do, and I hope that you love, what we give you, and it's really incredible to be able to work with the fans directly and to create products that we all love for the properties that we love, for the movies that we love. That's the most incredible part about Legion M, is that you're with this, you're helping me with this. Without the community, without you guys, I couldn't do what I do. None of us could do what we're doing. And it truly is a family. One more thing I will say about that. I'm a huge nerd, as I've already said. I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. This is the whole Harry Potter tattoo. I am deep into fandom, and something I love about going to cons, you know, like WonderCon, is that whenever I go to a con, when I attend a con, I feel like I belong, right? I feel like there's other people with me that and around me that aren't judging me. They're not thinking that I'm some freak who you know is obsessed with wizards and dragons. We're friends. We're family separately, right? You know what I'm saying. You all get me. And that's the incredible part about Legion M, is that that's our everyday, right? Like, we don't have to just wait for a con to feel that. We can just join in our Legion M family and we're there again, right? With those other people who accept us for the nerdy things that we love, and we can all be together in doing that. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please go to shop.legionm.com and check everything out. There you go.
Well said.
So awesome. Very well said. I love it. I love the enthusiasm of our team. It's so wonderful to see. And I think that was pretty much it for our panel. Jeff and Paul, do you want to say a few last words before we conclude?
Sure. I mean, well, what I would say is, I mean, you've heard it from, you know, the horse's mouth here today. I mean, this is what Legion M's all about. And, you know, we're sad that we can't be at WonderCon this year, and we're sad that a lot of the cons that we like to go to, and as Mandy said, you know, we like to be out in front of people, but we're doing the best that we can to bring everybody together and to kind of, you know, engage as a community online and doing what we can. And, you know, we'd love for you to just come and check us out, and you can join for free. We've mentioned that before. And we really do advise people to do that, to, you know, just check us out and see what you think. See if you like our projects. And, you know, we're really grateful to all the people that have, you know, not only joined our movement, but have invested and now invest in multiple rounds and come to our events. I mean, like I said earlier, individually, you know, we're fans, but when we band together, you know, we really truly do have this power. And we, you know, the community, our community, we put at the center of everything we do. I mean, whether it's designing merch and, you know, producing merch, or it's choosing projects, or it's, you know, releasing projects, everything we do, we think of the company first and foremost as a community. And now more than ever, community is what we all need. And so if community can help us heal, I mean, the mask program is something that we're banding together to help our fellow actors and producers and people out there that are suffering. And, you know, that mask program has been really successful. I think even more successful than we thought it would be. I mean, thousands and potentially tens of thousands of dollars will be generated through that program. And, you know, it's thanks to our community. So, I mean, Jeff, I don't know if you have anything you want to wrap it up with, but I would say, you know, come check out our website, join the Legion, you know, make sure you're getting our emails, and we keep a running blog on our homepage where we keep everyone in our community and beyond kind of updated on everything that we're doing and all the different opportunities to get involved and to, you know, meet other people and you know, go in beyond the gates of Hollywood and see what it's all about.
Yeah, I think that's very well said, Paul. And you know, I mean, it's interesting. Paul and I are serial entrepreneurs. This is the third company that we have started and that we've done together. And like, having been through many companies, including the company that won the Emmy that you can see strategically placed behind Paul's shoulder there.
Right back here.
But there's nothing quite like being part of a small team that's trying to take on the world. And I think what's really magical about Legion M is that we're doing everything that we can to open up that small team and make it as big a team as possible. And it's interesting because when we started the company, a lot of people told us, like, oh my God, this is a crazy idea. You know, like, the last thing you want is 1 million investors. Like, can you imagine what a headache that would be? And they're just wrong. I mean, if we were at a con right now, we would look around and see the power that fans have when we unite, when we as a community come together. And so to be able to do that and bring and have everybody be a part of it and not, you know, like you're supporting it, like you're backing it like a Kickstarter, but you literally own a piece of it. And if we're successful, you can make money from it. It's just, it's very exciting, and there's nothing quite like it. So, you know, again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us, and stay safe.
Yeah.